By the time they realized Daniel Hayes was innocent, 3 of them were already destroyed, and the 4th was about to disappear. No one ever saw Daniel Hayes coming, not because he was hiding, but because he was never important enough to notice. He was the kind of man people spoke over in meetings, forgot in elevators, and overlooked in every room he ever walked into. His life was quiet, predictable, and painfully ordinary. He woke at the same time every morning, took the same route to work, sat at the same desk, and spoke only when necessary. And that's what made him dangerous. Because while nobody noticed Daniel, Daniel noticed everything. Started with a number, just 1, out of place, not big enough to trigger alarms, not obvious enough to raise suspicion, but it didn't belong, and Daniel knew it, so he followed it. One transaction led to another, then a pattern so clean, so precise, it didn't look like a mistake, it looked like design, and the deeper he went, the more unsettling it became. Money was moving, but not randomly. It was being routed, hidden, layered through accounts that didn't officially exist. Someone wasn't just stealing, they were building something invisible, and Daniel had just found the blueprint. He should have stopped. Most people would have, but Daniel didn't work like most people. He documented everything, every transaction, every connection, every hidden layer, and when he finished, he submitted the report. That was the moment his life ended. He just didn't know it yet. First, nothing happened. No response, no acknowledgement, just silence. But then, small things started changing. His system logs showed activity at times he wasn't even in the office. Files he had never touched were suddenly tied to his credentials. Emails appeared, sent from his account, with his signature. First, he thought it was a glitch. Then he realized something worse. Someone wasn't hacking the system. They were rewriting him inside it. And by the time he tried to report it, it was already too late. The knock on his door came early. Too early for anything good. When he opened it, the look on their faces told him everything he needed to know. This wasn't an investigation. This was a conclusion. They arrested him calmly, professionally, like they had done it 1,000 times before. But for Daniel, this wasn't procedure. This was execution. The charges were overwhelming. Fraud, embezzlement, financial manipulation at a scale he couldn't even process. And the evidence was perfect, too perfect. Every transaction pointed to him. Every record confirmed it. Every piece of proof closed every possible way out. Even his lawyer didn't believe him. "This isn't something you fight," the man said quietly. "This is something you survive." But Daniel wasn't thinking about survival. He was thinking about one thing. How did they do it so cleanly? The trial didn't feel real. Felt staged, like everyone already knew their lines. Witnesses spoke with confidence. Evidence flowed without resistance. The outcome was never in doubt. And when the verdict came, Daniel didn't react, because somewhere deep down, he had already accepted it. Prison didn't break him. It revealed him. First, he stayed quiet, observed, listened, watched how power moved inside a system that had nothing to do with justice. And then he noticed something familiar: patterns. Even here, people followed patterns, and patterns could be controlled. That's when he met the man who changed everything. He didn't introduce himself, didn't need to, but he saw Daniel watching. "You're not like the others," he said. Daniel didn't respond. "You're trying to understand the system," the man continued. Daniel finally looked at him. "And when you understand a system," the man said quietly, "you can break it." That was the beginning. What followed wasn't friendship. It was transformation. Daniel learned things no one had ever taught him. How to observe without being seen. How to manipulate behavior without force. How to predict decisions before they were made. And most importantly, how to wait. "Revenge isn't emotional," the man told him one day. "It's precise." Years passed, but Daniel didn't count them. He used them, and when he finally walked out, he wasn't coming back to his old life, because that life didn't exist anymore. What he came back to was unfinished business. He found them, all of them, the ones who built the system, the ones who erased him, the ones who replaced him with a lie so perfect. No one questioned it. And then he disappeared again. But this time, on purpose. Months passed. Nothing happened. No noise. No movement. No revenge. And that's what made it terrifying. Because Daniel wasn't reacting. He was preparing. The first one never saw it coming. The tech specialist. The man who had rewritten Daniel's digital identity. One morning, everything collapsed. Data leaks. Internal reports. Anonymous evidence sent to the right people at the right time. Within hours, his career was gone. Within days, he was under investigation. And Daniel was nowhere near it. But what Daniel didn't expect was that the exposure would trigger something else. Someone started looking back, digging deeper, a secondary investigation, not into the crime, but into how the exposure happened. And for the first time, Daniel was at risk, but he didn't panic. He adjusted, because he had already planned for this. The second target fell slower, the legal advisor, a man who built careers protecting people like Daniel's enemies. But even he had secrets, old cases, hidden deals, things buried so deep, no one thought to look, until Daniel made sure they did. The man didn't fall immediately. He resisted, fought back, but the pressure didn't stop. And eventually, he broke. Now they were scared. The remaining two, because this wasn't coincidence anymore. Someone was dismantling them, piece by piece, and they had no idea who. But then, someone got close, too close. A security camera, a reflection, a face, not clear, not confirmed, but enough. And suddenly, Daniel wasn't invisible anymore. He was a possibility, and that changed everything. They started looking, harder, smarter, more desperate. But desperation leads to mistakes, and Daniel knew that. So he gave them something to follow, a false lead, a trail, something just convincing enough to pull them away from the truth. And while they chased it, he moved. The final collapse wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was inevitable. The CEO, the man at the center of it all. His empire didn't fall in a moment. Cracked, then shifted, then collapsed under the weight of everything Daniel had set in motion. Financial exposure, internal betrayal, public scandal. There was nowhere left to stand. And when it was over, Daniel did something no one expected. He stepped forward. Not publicly, not for attention, just once, face to face. The man looked at him, and in that moment, he understood. "You," he said quietly. Daniel didn't smile, didn't react. "You didn't destroy me," Daniel said calmly. "You built me." There was nothing left to say. Daniel walked away. No celebration, no recognition, no closure, just silence. And somewhere in that silence, a truth remained. The system had punished the wrong man, and the right man had corrected it. Not with anger, not with chaos, but with precision. And the most unsettling part was that even after everything, no one could prove it was him. And maybe that was the point, because some people don't need to be seen to change everything.